This is the Skeptical Student Show, created as a part of Podcast Lab by India Film Project in association with Anchor by Spotify.
You can always listen to the episode on Fast Forward and follow the podcast to never miss new episodes.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Skeptical Student Show. I am Gavish, and today in conversation with me is Mr. Dikshant Sharma, a diligent second-year student at GGDSD College, Punjab University, Chandigarh. Pursuing honors in sociology, he is someone who not only hopes for, but partakes in the process of change, like by undertaking a state-level verified research project on kinds of waste and its management and social work. But above all, he is passionate, which also resonates with the name of his YouTube channel, Passion Studies, an education-based channel catering to the needs of humanities students. Welcome, Dikshant.
Thanks, Kavish, and I'm really glad to be a part of your show. It really feels privileged to be encouraging the students and coming on your the Skeptical Student Show. I hope for a great and very student-friendly conversation. Let's start with this grand opening.
So, for the audience, this episode is going to be a little different because it's going to be more of a discussion. And the topic at hand today is the collapse of education system in COVID times. According to UNICEF, the COVID-19 pandemic had battered education systems around the world, affecting close to 90% of the world's student population, and in India alone, around 32 crore learners stopped moving to school, colleges, and all educational activities had halted. So the impact is evidently huge, but I would like to narrow it down to us.
Blast from the past segment.
So let us begin and hear from you, Dikshant, about the batch of 2020.
Now that life is totally changed, talking about my batch of 2019-20, in which it was like a normal life, a student goes to the school, enjoys his school life, and takes all-round exposure, basically a holistic education, which I got the opportunity. Talking about my experience, as you mentioned in the intro, that I took the state level research project. So this was I would say, opportunity given to me by my school. It goes under the Science Congress, Children's Science Congress, in which I qualified the block level, then went to the district level, and then qualified the state level. So this is all due to what? The all-round exposure we go to the school, the physical environment we interact, the socio-cultural aspect we day-to-day come across, and this brings us to the exposure of school life. But suddenly, when I came through my board exams, so I was also a victim of that, I would say. My 4 exams, board exams, were conducted in the month of Feb and March in 2020. But afterwards, a strict lockdown was imposed by the PM of India, and I was not able to give my 2 remaining exams. But at the last, we came up with the policy that we'll be getting the average marks. So I will say that I was enough lucky that I could enjoy, and the transition which has took place has really changed students' minds and their life also.
What I wanted to know about is, what about your college life? Because you transitioned from school into the college through online medium only. So how about we get to know about that?
Very true, Gavish, I would say. Okay, so talking about my college life, it was a virtual one for 1 year, as I was not able to go to the college, and not I, but every student who was in the phase of lockdown. And first we waited for 3 months for the first semester. Then the first semester was also finished. Then we had a hope that after Diwali in the second semester we'll go. But the second semester also went. In the mid of second semester, a ray of hope came when the cases were really very down before the coming up of second wave. But still nothing happened and the hopes remained like this, and everything went in the vain. Second semester also finished up. Exams happened. Everything was online, the virtual way. Nothing was monitored, I would say, to be very frank. Many give exams cheating or something like that. I myself, I'll say very honestly, um, I sometimes some answers were there which I was not able to remember. I took help from different sources. Third semester, that is second year, also started online. Now I was really very disheartened, disappointed. I would say that no conversation between my friends were like it was incomplete if we don't talk about COVID or college reopening. In every talk, college reopening wala mudda used to be there, and we used to talk about it. In September, our colleges were opened, and now we could go to the colleges. And yes, I would say in the mid of our third semester, we entered into our college, which was logically our first year. Because although I'm in a second year, but I'm experiencing my first year right now.
Thank you, Dikshant, for sharing with us your story. And I would like to point out to the fact that you talked about cheating. And if that isn't a sign of the collapse of the education system, then what is? Coming back to my experience, I am a 2021 or the COVID batch pass out, as one may call it. So it all began when the schools went shut. There were no classes for several weeks. But then we started to realize that this situation was to stay. So the online format of classes first began with conference calls, where each person went on adding four other people, and the last person added the teacher. My class teacher entrusted me with the responsibility of making this transition easier for everyone because I was one of the more techno savvy kids. Then we officially switched to Zoom, but after some of the privacy concerns which were raised against it, the school decided to shift to Google Meet, and domain based emails were issued to every student. And that's how things continued. It was an experience to cherish in life, to be honest. Then, one particular subject which was making me stressed was fine arts, because this is more of a practical oriented subject. And I know that the theory based subjects did fine during the whole phase of online teaching. But I actually suffered to cope up with fine arts for quite some time because in the online medium, learning about a practical subject is just not possible. And I thought to myself, taking a psychology could have been a better choice. However, I was determined to excel, so much so that I sought permission from school to go and practice with my painting teacher multiple times. And ended up scoring a perfect 100.
Practical knowledge, as you were saying that fine arts, you used to go and used to practice fine arts. I think really we miss out this. I was a student of vocal also in class 12th, music vocal. It is very tough to learn music or something painting like virtually.
But I think I couldn't enjoy my last year at school to its full extent because there were virtual competitions, an online farewell, and so on. I also relate to one of the facts which you talked about was participation. I've always seen extracurricular activities, whether in online or offline medium, as something which offered me respite from the academic stress.
Problem pinpoint segment.
Now, let us shift the point of discussion to the negatives of this whole collapse of the education system. I think the very first negative which comes to our mind is the digital divide. We may have formulated policies for online education, but it is a fact and reality that everyone does not have access to internet in modern day India. What do you have to say about that?
So it is very true that maximum students across India cannot, access through these digital devices or internet. As I'm from Himachal and from a village area, rural area, I would say, and I have seen many students or many people who, who are not able to use these smartphones or who are not able to go with the access of internet. They just use these keypad type of phones. Secondly, my mother is a teacher in a government school, and I would say that many students in her school were not able to go with this thing of internet or online classes. They were not acquainted with this. So when we see through grassroots level, it is very shocking that maximum students are deprived of this virtual platform, or I would say internet. Now it is very tough for the schools or for the institutions to take classes to teach students virtually.
So, like you told us that your mother is a teacher, which brings me to my next point. I was reading that in lockdown itself, teachers were being bullied just because they couldn't operate the machinery or the apps perfectly. Teachers were also getting fired just because the schools did not have enough funds to pay them because no household was earning, and this also made the schools raise the fee so that they could pay their teachers, and this all created a very messy situation wherein the government had to intervene. For example, the government of West Bengal and the government of Delhi also intervened to tell the schools that you cannot be simply raising the fees.
Yes, very true, Gavish. I would say that this cyberbullying only I'll consider over here. That many students, they used to make fun of teachers, and this was really very disheartening for a teacher who is very new to these things, because digital skills are something which are not taught to every person, and the age in which teachers are, they'll take time. But here, students, their moral etiquettes, I don't know where they go. They act very immature. So, and even I would say the graduate ones who are pursuing graduation or who are in higher, education, they are also doing these type of activities, notorious ones. So it was really very bad, as I am in the profession of teaching. I love teaching, and I can realize the fact that how, it feels when a student makes fun of you, or, bully you, or make, the scenario of the class very disturbing.
Very true, that is indeed saddening. But what about the health complications which online teaching brings with itself? Eye strain, mental stress. But I would like to mention here that Dikshant on his YouTube channel called Passion Studies was making motivational videos which I personally watched, and it actually boosted my morale. Dikshant, so what do you have to say about the health complications of all this? Like no physical activity and stuff like that.
Thank you, Gavish, for watching my videos. And coming on the point that health complications, very true. The first and the foremost, obesity, eye strain, headache. These are all the problems which I also gone through. I'll not say ki I'm talking about something different or someone different. I was the person who went through this. I was lucky to be a part of village area where I can be advantaged with fresh air, cool air, a healthy and a congenial environment. But talking about majority who live in cities, they were not able to go out from the rooms, from the houses. They were stuck inside that. So daily sitting from early mornings to the evenings on the screen, it was really very tough, and it rises to these health complications as you are talking about. So I would say that, yeah, it was also a very negative aspect of this. When we were online, this physical inactivity led to these health complications.
Very true. Which also brings me to a similar point called social isolation, wherein the eating habits and the sleep cycle of a student gets messed up. So, would you like to add something to this?
Talking about social isolation, this is very, like important for a person, that he should be well socialized in the environment he or she is living. But when we are at one place, we are not able to socialize with any person. Face to face teaching was lacking, and it was all online. So social isolation took place. That is, we were getting disturbed, stress, anxiety, fear, pressure. These were the results of this social isolation. So as I'm a student of sociology, and I can really correlate it with the society, I would say. So yeah, social isolation was very negative aspect of this period.
Okay, so talking about the last negative, which is a question. What about pre primary students who have not even embarked on their academic journey? I think they are going to suffer not now but in the future because the very foundations of their academic career have been shaken.
Seeking Solution segment.
Everything has two sides, positive and negative, merits and demerits. It would be wrong of us to not discuss about the positives of online education, just talk about the negatives.
So yeah, I totally agree with you, Gavish. First of all, refer over here is that a change, into virtual mode. Coming on the Google Meet, Zoom, or different, apps which were required to operate these classrooms, virtual classrooms, I would say, or scanning apps, right, to scan the sheets. So these were not used before. and usage of Google Forms many times. Like how quickly now we can make a Google form to take any survey or something. So yeah, digital skills were enhanced of every person. As it is rightly said, the person who cannot accept the change cannot progress. So
Alright, before talking about the benefits of the online medium, do you know that India has now emerged as the second biggest market for massive open online course in the world after the United States? Now, I'm sure that you must have also noticed that online classes have their own benefits. Like you get to have recorded lectures, which you can watch anytime from the comfort of your living room at any given point. Also, online classes save up transport costs. Are there any other advantages of online classes which you might have in mind?
okay, so yeah, Gavish, I can frame out many other advantages also. As I will say that I'll share my own experience. So here, like when I was in school, so I had to travel a lot. Like whenever I talk about my school life, so I frame this sentence that traveling was a really very big task for me. I used to first I used to walk for a distance of 5 kilometers, then taking a bus. So it used to take 1 to 2 hours for reaching the school and coming back. So now this time could be saved. The flexibility came. So yeah, it saved my time, my efficiency, and my money, of course. Secondly, I would say that sometimes what happen is ki in class there are so many students. Like the class can be of 50 to 60 students also, and we are not able to ask the questions or queries directly, right? Teacher also sometimes neglect. But now just you have to press unmute and you can ask the question. You are at your own comfort zone. At the last, how I could convert my that 1 year into a positive one, a productive one. So as I told, I started with my YouTube. I could follow my passion of teaching. I started my channel as it was really very, I would say, interactive for me, as I was able to interact through many students, many friends, many people, many folks throughout India. As I think Gavish is also a part of it only. I could participate in many competitions throughout India. Firstly, it was limited up to my state, up to my school, or up to my region. But so participating virtually, doing YouTube, teaching virtually, taking crash course.
Yeah, I think I completely relate with all the points. One thing which I would want to applaud is the initiative taken by institutions like setting up counseling helplines, sending data packs to students who were in need, or even sending laptops to students who couldn't access online classes. This was very considerate of our educational system. Also, this is a sign for our government to raise the spendings on education, which needs to be at least up to 6% of the GDP. Now, I think I would like to ask Dikshant about, do you think that online education foundation has been laid for the future? Because COVID-19 was certainly not the first pandemic, and it might also not be the last. So do you think it has laid a foundation?
I would say, yeah, it has. And basically, the thing is that now everyone is well acquainted with this thing. It will not be a very new thing to get well acquainted that, yeah, we have to adapt it. Adaptation has been done. Just the thing is that, yeah, it acts as a substitute for offline classes. Now, many conferences, many webinars are taking place online. So if any other pandemic comes, I wish it doesn't, but yeah, if in any worst scenario it comes, so yeah, we will be having a substitute and will improve drastically. So I would say that a foundation has been laid down, obviously, but the thing is improvement, adaptability, and accessibility. These things have to be considered. And if we go in this flow, obviously, it could be very fruitful for us.
Seeking Solutions segment.
For those who don't know, I ran an Ask Me Anything feature on my Instagram story. And the question that I asked was, did COVID force us to evolve for the better? Is online medium future of education? So I've selected some responses for discussion. The first one being, if forced, that's the problem, where people couldn't evolve. No online medium can be future of formal education. To respond to this, I think I would disagree that online education cannot be a substitute, because we have literally seen how the whole world switched to the online medium for more than a year. And if I think evolution doesn't ask for your permission to take place. You need to evolve, and those who can't evolve will certainly perish. What would you say about that, Dikshant? Do you agree with the statement?
Solution is what? Solution is something where we cooperate. We are cooperating with this online education if we are giving access to it. So yeah, it will become a rigid or a strong substitute or a medium in future, obviously, if everyone will have access.
Yes, I think online education has been embedded into our life in such a way that things will never go back to how they were before the pandemic. Let us take the example of Google Classroom for instance. How do you think, even if schools do open up, a teacher might prefer using Google Classroom to collect the assignments? That is what the hybridization or the embedment of online education in our lives has been of. The next response, which was humans aren't disciplined enough for online classes. I think I sort of find myself agreeing to the statement because online class was actually for the strongly willed. Because there's plenty of distractions which will obviously not let you study through the online medium. What do you think about that, Dikshant?
I totally think same, because see, I always say that when there is no one to monitor you, there are chances that you will distract.
Supplementary segment.
Supplementary segment where we give something back to our listeners. So I would recommend for you to watch a video on YouTube called Sweden has kept schools open during the pandemic despite spike in cases. Now, we need to mention here in this episode that when the entire globe was suffering with shutting schools down, countries like Australia, Sweden and Greenland were running their schools normally. So the link to the video will be made available in the episode description and it is recommended to watch that.
I will suggest our listeners to read a book, No More Excuses by Silverstein. So it is really a very great book. In that book, you will come to know about like how we make excuses and how we are deviated from our path.
A part of this entire collapse is also the cancellation of board exams. Perhaps that is a topic for another day. So Dikshant, what would be your last word summing up the entire episode in your own way?
We learn from our own experiences and we learn from others' experiences also. Now talking about the session and the topic. So I'll just conclude with this only, that this COVID has taught us many things.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dikshant, for agreeing to do this. And if any one of you would want to stay connected, we are available on Instagram. I am called Gavish Raptor with @GAVISH_RAPTOR. Dikshant, how about you spell out your social handles for the listeners?
My social handle will be DikshantSharma.ps. I'll spell it out. DIKSHANTSHARMA.ps.
Thank you so much, everyone who joined in for this episode. And don't forget to tune in next week for a fresh episode.
You were listening to the Skeptical Student Show by Gavish Raptor, created as a part of Podcast Lab by India Film Project in association with Anchor by Spotify.